Greetings, beloved Princeton United Methodist Church community. It's Pastor Jenny here, and I am reading today from Psalm 103, verse 1. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless God's holy name. This is the word of life. Thanks be to God. We're continuing to talk about blessing, about being blessed to be a blessing, and the ways that we receive blessing from God, the ways that that blessing flows through us and out to other people, and in doing so, it even flows back to God, much like a fountain. I love this image of a fountain for blessing, this way that the water in a fountain flows and then overflows out into the next layer and perhaps down and down again, depending on the fountain. But there's some mechanism in a fountain that brings it back up to its source, to the top, to the place where it starts to trickle down again. And I love that idea and this way of picturing blessing this way. A blessing, if it just ends in the bowl, in the basin, if it just were that, it would be it would not be a fountain, would it? That water would eventually run out, perhaps, or there would be a flood. There would be destruction rather than this beauty and this tranquility and this life that comes from fountains. Blessings are so much like that. We cannot just be the basin that contains. We are conduits. We are participants, and it doesn't ever end just with us. This Sunday is Laity Sunday, and we're doing something a little bit different with Laity Sunday. We are going to be having a conversation with 3 of our lay people. I'm going to help facilitate that conversation, but I'm not preaching. I'm letting them share their stories, but doing it in a kind of conversational way. So it's a little, a little less formal, and we're trying it out, seeing how it goes. And I've asked our participants and 3 of our lay people 2 questions. The 2 questions, and I want to ask you these questions as well. When have you experienced God's blessing? When have you been a recipient? And maybe in the moment you've been able to know that that's the case, that you were able to receive that blessing as a blessing from God in that moment. But sometimes these kinds of blessings we don't notice till later, more in hindsight, where we see it again. We also sometimes think of these things as big and flashy, big blessing kinds of things. But so often the blessings that we receive are ordinary, normal, quiet blessings, things that come through everyday life and everyday interactions, ways that happen, that God is speaking and moving in the stillness or this quiet spaces within our spirits, our souls, our hearts, our minds. But they can also be big. They can also be flashy. God works in all sorts of ways. But I wonder, when have you experienced God's blessing? And then the second question is, when have you had the opportunity to bless another person? I know that sometimes this is a challenge because there's something kind of it turns the spotlight on us, right? When have we been a conduit for God's blessing is kind of tooting our own horn, and that's kind of challenging, especially in the spiritual space. But again, it doesn't always happen in a flashy way. This can be just an intimate moment, a moment of silence, a moment of care, a moment of doing something that just help convey God's love and power and presence to another person. It's also possible that we have the chance to bless people from afar. And while that's a different level of intimacy, sometimes it impacts others just as much. When have you been able to bless another person? And with each of these things, when you have felt blessed by God, and when you have been a conduit or an agent of blessing for someone else, I also wonder how it has felt to be in those places, in those situations. Are there sensations that happen within our bodies, in your body? Are there ways that it calmed your soul, or healed something in you, or nourished something in you? Are there ways that your senses have been enlivened through a blessing? Where has that landed in your body, mind, heart, and soul? Maybe even just the memory, the lasting memory of a blessing that you have received or given, and somebody's response to it perhaps have been the thing that is noteworthy. And again, not all blessings are happening all the time. There's a constant flow of this fountain of blessing. And certainly we miss many of them. But part of what we are inviting to happen during this series, talking about blessings, being blessed to be blessings, is to raise our awareness, to raise our participation in the midst of it, our mindful presence in the midst of blessing, noticing the ways that we have been blessed, the ways that we bless others. Sometimes we bless others without our awareness, right? Sometimes just our presence with another person can be a blessing, and it is experienced that way for them far more than we are aware. But nonetheless, these things are happening all the time. There's this flow happening all the time. So the more, though, we can participate and be aware of that flow, the more that blessing fills us and continues to work in us, not just individually, but collectively. This is some tangible, noticeable ways that God's work, God's love, God's grace, God's power, and God's presence flow through the world. It's so beautiful. So I hope that you will join us for worship on Sunday as we celebrate these blessings and get to hear from three of our lay people, Larry Apperson, Reggie Kahn, and Michael May. Three of our lay men of different generations are going to be sharing with us, and I look forward to being part of that conversation, hearing what they have to say as well. Friends, it's also Thanksgiving week next week, and so happy Thanksgiving, and may it be a time again of realizing, knowing, naming, thanking God for these blessings. When we do that, when we give thanks, when we acknowledge, when we participate fully, this is how we bless God. We bless God. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless God's holy name. I pray that blessings continue to flow and be aware, be in our awareness all over the place. And I do look forward to seeing you soon. Know that it is always a great blessing, a great gift for me to be on this journey with you. Remember that you are enough because God is enough. Remember that you were created for joy. Blessings to you all.